Hey, Tony.
Hey, David.
So a few people have asked why the College Board hasn't explained how the 10-point DBQ score will correlate to the 5-point exam score. So in other words, how many points would I have to earn on the DBQ to earn a 4 or 5 on the exam? Can you clarify this at all for us?
Yeah, I mean, the reason that they haven't explained that is because there's really no way to know yet. Before the test, you can't know how the 10-point rubric is going to translate to the 5-point scale. So the AP test has been given for over 50 years, right? And in order for this test to be statistically reliable, it needs to have some consistency in the percent of test takers that score at each of the 5 points. And it needs to show that consistency year in and year out, for the most part. So in order to achieve this, generally the test makers will field test questions, multiple choice questions, essay questions. They field test them sometimes for years before they show up on the actual test. And they do that to ensure that the questions are consistently challenging, so that you don't have an easy question one year and a hard question the next year. They're consistently challenging. And then once you've established that the test is consistent and fair, then they administer those questions on test day, and they take all the responses and they score everything and then rank order all those scores. So, somebody scores at the top, somebody scores at the bottom, and there's a whole bunch of people scoring in the middle. And then the test makers then look at that rank order, and the top group gets 4s or 5s, the bottom group gets 1s and 2s, and the middle group gets 3s, and that's how the scores get distributed. So there's no way to know at the outset which place on the 10-point rubric is going to end up at a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. It all depends on how many people score at that point, and how the ranking ends up. But I mean, once again, and this goes back to something that you asked me in a previous video, if you go into this test shooting for a 5, then you've already lost. You have to go into this test shooting for a 9 or a 10. Right. And if you follow the MTE steps, you're shooting for a 9 or a 10 every time, and that puts you in the top group. So you should be okay with a 4 or a 5.
Excellent. All right, man. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks a lot. See you later.